Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for the Equitable Communities Initiative Youth Leadership Request for Investment information session. My name is Loida Earhard. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the Community Data and Evaluation Advisor for the Department of Education and Early Learning at the City of Seattle. Before we get started today, it would be helpful to have a printed or electronic copy of the RFI document in front of you. And if you have any questions that come up during this presentation, please feel free to submit them to dealfunding@seattle.gov and ensure to include in the subject line question, ECI, youth leadership, and cultural education RFI. And we'll make sure to get those answered as soon as possible. For today's information session, we'll be going through the Equitable Communities Initiative Youth Leadership RFI background, as well as the application overview and expectations, and any next steps and instructions for submitting questions. So why does this funding opportunity exist, and what is the background of this work? Well, the Department of Education is excited to invite applications from community-based organizations for the Youth Leadership Request for Investment. And as part of DEEL'S 2020 budget allocation, $1.5 million has been put forward through the Equitable Communities Initiative to support youth of color. Eligible applicants may submit applications that fund proposals up to a maximum of $150,000. Funding will be awarded through a competitive request for investment process, which will be managed by DEEL. DEEL conducted a comprehensive landscaping and community engagement approach, which informed this work. A literature review was conducted to identify best practices and evidence related to youth leadership. Public school data was reviewed on students and teachers to understand the specific needs among different student populations. An online community survey was conducted with 38 responses to understand the different work that's happening in the city. 21 key informant interviews were conducted with key CBO partners, and 4 youth listening sessions were also conducted amongst different groups and populations. So the goal of community outreach was for us to gather community feedback to help us support the decision-making on where this funding should be going. 3 key quotes from the youth listening sessions are included here, so I'll let you take a moment and read through those. Through the community outreach, the Equitable Communities Initiative Task Force, and other landscaping work, they've recommended program strategies landed on social emotional well-being, identity and belonging, and learning and agency. Outcomes related to each of those areas are included here in this next slide, with the long-term goal of increasing on-time high school completion and reduced school dropout for BIPOC youth. Under learning and agency, we're hoping programs are able to increase opportunities for building leadership skills of BIPOC youth. Under identity and belonging, looking for programming to increase positive identity development through identity affirming cultural education and relationship with peers and adults for BIPOC youth. And under social emotional and well-being, increasing social emotional skills and identity affirming safe spaces for BIPOC youth. And underlying all of these programs, we're hoping that CBOs will have programs that allow youth to have positions of power and authority in decision-making and implementation. Youth feel seen, supported, and affirmed by culturally relevant program content, and that youth feel welcomed, respected, and safe when accessing these support services. We'll now be going through a summary of the Youth Leadership RFI. The purpose being to select applicants who are providing culturally specific and responsive youth leadership programming for BIPOC youth. Eligible applicants are community-based organizations and sole proprietors who are supporting youth impacted by systemic inequities and are prioritizing BIPOC, immigrant, and refugee youth. Awarded applicants will receive one-time funding up to $150,000. Applications are due at 3 o'clock on Monday, May 16th, but we do encourage you, if you're able to submit earlier, to do so. And as mentioned earlier, this is a one-time programmatic funding going through June 2020 to June 2023. We'll know by going through the application process itself. The application includes a new online registration process. And I want to emphasize that this is new, so you may not have gone through this before, and we will be going through the steps to complete that. A cover sheet, section 1, which will include program strategies, section 2, the community informed outcomes and where your organization sees itself in there. Section 3 is the learning plan and continuous quality improvement component. Section 4, labor harmony, COVID addendum, and the budget. So as mentioned before, we are including a new online registration form. And this is really an accountability system to make sure that all applications are received and that we're able to connect those to this online registration database. So the online registration link will be included in the application on the website and also connected to any other documentation related to this RFI. If you have any issues finding it, please reach out to the DEAL funding email that was referenced earlier. You will receive an automatic receipt stating that you are currently registered, and we'll be asking for organizational information, the application point of contact, as well as some information about your proposal. And then there is the cover sheet, which has a little bit of a duplication of information, but that will also include organizational information, the point of contact, and proposal information. Section 1 of the application will be related to program strategies, and we would love to know how your work fits into one or more of the following strategies that we mentioned earlier around identity, belonging, learning and agency, and social emotional well-being. Section 2, community informed outcomes. So we would love to have a little bit more of a description on the impact your program has had thus far on BIPOC youth in Seattle, and what impact you have planned in the next year, and how this impact aligns with 2 or more of the community informed outcomes that we reviewed earlier, including positive identity development, increased positive and supportive relationship with peers and adults, etc. And we've included some program outcome prompts as well, so you'll have some clear questions and answers in there. Section 3, data use and continuous quality improvement plan. We would love to learn a little bit more about how your program plans to collect information and use it to improve the work with BIPOC youth. The budget template is located at seattle.gov/education/funding opportunities. And there is a template that includes all of the instructions on personnel expenditures and non-personnel expenditures. We will also be having some TA sessions. So if you have specific questions about budgets, we should be able to answer those for you as well. Section 4 is on labor harmony. So this is really just a check the box to ensure that we are avoiding any labor disputes and or services related to services. The COVID addendum is included here just to ensure that if any other COVID related issues come up, that there is a backup plan moving to online or remote programming. The RFI application scoring will be going through 4 sections: organizational information, the program strategies, program outcomes, as well as the data use and continuous quality improvement plan. City of Seattle staff and community members will sit on a review panel reviewing all applications that come in, providing a scoring mechanism based on this criteria you see. And that is how the selection process will go through. The application timeline is included here. So the request for investment has been posted on this Monday, the 25th. This is the RFI information session, which will be posted today. And we'll be having 2 online technical assistance sessions. One is on May 4th and one on May 10th. And we will also be having a date for the last date to submit questions to us, which is on May 11th. And RFI applications will be due May 16th by 3 p.m. And as stated earlier, the applications will be reviewed and rated. Panel deliberations will happen in June, and notification to applicants will be provided on June 17th. Technical compliance ensures that all of the checkboxes have been checked. So an application will be deemed technically compliant if it is submitted on time, which is by Monday, May 16th at 3 p.m. And it is submitted electronically to dealfunding@seattle.gov. Sections 1 through 3 should be typed single or double spaced, size 11 font, page numbered, single or double sided. To include the submitted labor harmony attachment, which is section 4, and including the COVID addendum and a signature on the application form. And we do want to highlight that once you've submitted, that is final. So please make sure that you are reviewing your email before submission, as well as all components of the application. As mentioned before, we do have technical assistance. So if you have any questions, please feel free to email us, again, at dealfunding@seattle.gov. And please attend our technical assistance sessions that will be held virtually on May 4th between 2:30 p.m. to 4 p.m. and same time on May 10th. TA is not mandatory, but you are encouraged to attend, and put those in your calendar so that you have them for the future. And thank you so much. We really look forward to seeing your applications, and see you at the TA sessions.